Hi everybody, I'm King Han Lee, a mixing and mastering engineer. Hope every one of you is doing well. Well, this is my first video on YouTube, and first thing first, I would like you to know that I'm not really good at English. So please forgive me if you hear any grammatical mistakes. Well, since this is my first video, please allow me to introduce my studio. The name of my studio is 432 Hz Studio. I'm using Pro Tools HD and the Harrison MPC 4D as my major mixing equipment. And I also do mastering, so there are some mastering equipments out there, such as waves, EQ, and compressors, and a bus audio EQ, a thermionic counter compressor, and some other compressors and limiters and maximizers. Well, today I would like to review the new released plugin from Harrison, MPC channel. Well, I got the notice from Harrison a few weeks ago. They claimed that the MPC channel plugin copied the complete algorithm from the actual hardware console. Well, I have heard such things many times in the past, such as we copied the algorithm from Neve console or something else like this, blah blah blah. Every time I hear this, I would try them because in my heart, I hope someday the plugin can replace the hardware. But every time I try them, I get disappointed because, well, the sound performance of those plugins are even not close to the hardware. So this time I was wondering, what will Harrison give us? Can this plugin match the sound performance of a real console? Let's try this out. Okay, first, let's see what this plugin looks like. Okay, I'll zoom it in. Well, as a plugin, it surprises me in some ways. First, its price is $1,500 US. Wow, it's the same price for some mixing hardwares. Well, I have to say it's maybe the most expensive plugin in history. And there's more. This plugin only supports Pro Tools under macOS, which means it even doesn't support Harrison's own DAW. This really surprises me. Why Harrison released a plugin that doesn't support its own DAW? Well, now I'll make a very detailed review, and let's listen to the audio and see if the sound of the plugin can match the sound of the console, or how much is the difference between them. Okay, now for you guys to better compare these sounds, I designed the most scientific ways I can work out to make this comparison. First, I chose a set of drums from a song that I have just finished mixing. As you can see here, these red channels are those drums. All of them go to the console channel by channel and are mixed by the console's EQs and compressors, faders, and pans. And below these red tracks are some green tracks. You can see it here. They also go to the console channel by channel, but they aren't mixed by the console's EQs and the compressors, but by the MPC channel plugins, as we can see here and there. However, I use the console for their summing, which means if the plugin sound is exactly the same as the console's channel strip, the red channels should sound the same as the green channels. I copied all the parameters from the console to the MPC plugin. One more thing before we start engaging in the tests is that I can't completely copy all the parameters from the console to the plugins. As you can see here, the Q value. For example, I usually use the Q value of 2.8 on the console, but if I type 2.8 and hit return, it will become to 0.81. It's not exactly the same, although it's a very tiny difference, but it can still affect the sound. When I turn on the first fader, which the mute button doesn't lit, you will hear the sound from the red tracks. And if I turn on the second fader, you will hear the sound from those green tracks, which is summed by the console. Okay, now let's first listen to the sound from the MPC console. And then we listen to the sound from the MPC channels. Okay, I will toggle between them now. First, the console sound. Now I believe everyone has got your own point of view. As for me, I can't say they are exactly the same. How could they are even I can't set all the parameters 100% same. But I can say they are almost the same. Do you feel it the same way? After we listen to this comparison, I will show you the second method I use to compare them. Because for most people, they don't have the MPC console. So they can't use the MPC channel plugin along with the console summing. So what would it sound like if I only have the plugin and Pro Tools? Now, as you can see, there are some purple tracks. They are the same as these green tracks, but they are only assigned to one stereo channel on the console. In other words, I will use Pro Tools summing instead of the console summing this time. Anyway, I'm sure we won't hear the same sound as those two methods before. But how much the difference would be, right? Okay, this time when I turn on this fader, it will play the sound summed by the console. And if I mute it and turn on this fader, this will play the sound summed by the Pro Tools. Okay, let's hear the difference. First, let's hear the sound summed by the console. And then let's listen to the sound summed by the Pro Tools. Okay, well, we can hear there was a part in the music with only bass drum, and clap. When I listen to this part, that difference is more obvious than other parts. You can hear the bass from the audio summed by the console is clearer than by Pro Tools. But however, it becomes subtle when all drums come out together. The space of the console summing is wider and deeper, but the Pro Tools sound narrowed down a little bit. But this is not a huge difference, which can make you feel they are totally two different sounds. Okay, now let's do the last comparison. I will toggle the sound between the first method, which is completely mixed by the console, and the second method, which is mixed completely by Pro Tools. First, by the console. And second, sound from Pro Tools. Okay, this time the difference between them becomes a little bit more obvious. The dynamic, space, and frequency response are all different. But in my opinion, the difference is below 10%. Do you agree with this? That's why I say the MPC channel is a revolutionary plugin. It brings true hardware sound to the computer, and it costs very little CPU. No matter how much the difference is, it's the closest sound between software plugin and hardware in the plugin history, I think. The MPC channel not only duplicates the complete algorithm from the MPC console strip, it also has more functions than the console strip. Let's see. First, it has a de-esser, which comes from the Xtools algorithm of the MPC console, and it has a denoiser, which is very useful for film mixing. This de-esser is a very flexible processor. You can not only use it as a normal de-esser, but can also use it as a 2-band multi-band compressor. As we can see, we can adjust the S-band to 200 Hz and the high band to 2K Hz. So you can use it as a simple 2-band compressor. For the EQ, there are only these 8 bands on the console, but there are 2 more bands added to the plugin. They are not just normal high and low cuts. Okay, let's load another plugin so that I can make some change to make you see. Okay, first, within these 8 bands, you can select only 6 or 12 dB per octave for the low and high cuts on these normal bands. But you can select 24, 36, or even 48 dB per octave on these 2 additional bands. Besides that, you can also select low shelf and high shelf on these 2 additional bands with adjustable Q value. The Q value of low and high shelf are not adjustable on those 8 normal bands. One more thing I would consider it more flexible than the console is the compressor. Actually, I have advised a few times to Harrison that I hope they can add a soft knee function to the console's compressor. In the end, they added here on the plugin. With this function, you can get the sound more natural and more gentle with this compressor. Okay, now we have heard so many comparisons. I like to make some conclusions. From my own point of view, if I only have a Pro Tools plus an MPC plugin, they will achieve at least 90% sound performance of the console. And a Pro Tools plus an MPC plugin will cost you about $2,000 US. But this console, it costs you $150K. So do you still think the plugin is expensive? Okay, now I gotta go. See you next time.